So Colorado goes into Eugene and they get a whopping. I think that most people who watch football kind of knew what was going to happen. We weren't surprised of it. I don't think that it necessarily tells a story of oh, the Colorado is that bad, or Oregon's that good, because we have to understand something. It's still a Pac-12. The Pac-12 is awful. Let's just kind of put it. Let's just kind of put it. If we look at the college football playoff, and the last Pac-12 team to do anything in the college football playoff, we have to go back to let's see. If we look at the last the college football playoff, the Pac-12 hasn't had a team in the championship game dating back to ever, right? So the Pac-12 winning in the Pac-12, beating up another Pac-12 team. They look like the big dogs, but we all know Oregon's garbage. We saw what Bo Nix did in the SEC, right? So that just gives you see what he's doing in the Pac-12. So that should give you kind of like an indicator of how good is he. And looking at these Pac-12 quarterbacks, these Pac-12 quarterbacks, it's the Pac-12. So I'm not hyping Oregon up. Oregon was freaking juiced up that game, though. Oregon was juiced up. They were ready. They came to play. They were excited. This is their Super Bowl. This is the biggest game they pretty much had since Mariota was a quarterback. And they lost to Florida State. But the Pac-12, actually, I lied. Washington was in semifinal. Washington was in a Pac-12 game. And they got throttled by they lost to Alabama 24 to 7. But I go on to say that they were juiced up for the game. You're in Eugene. The whole time the stadium was loud throughout the whole game. There was never a time where it was a quiet moment. Colorado was out without their best player, who played on both sides of the ball, was gone. But I will say this. I'm not surprised. I think most people who watch football or who know football know they're not surprised. You only had 3 games of film. You didn't have any film on this team. They're coming in with a 53-man roster. Their new coaching staff said you can't watch film. You don't know what film do you watch on individual guys. You'd never see them play as a team. So TCU had the first bite at them, which I think was fraud last year, and they got exposed this year. They beat TCU. Nebraska as well too, but that was a tougher game. Colorado State was a tougher game as well too, mainly because they had film on them. I told you guys in my last video, you guys were trashing me. It's going to get tougher for Colorado because teams are going to have more film on them. You don't have to jump on people because they don't have film on you. I do expect this shootout when USC comes to Colorado. But the thing that I liked about the game that I thought was really good about the game was there was no quitting Buffalo. Deion Sanders didn't have a pity party. He said, hey, look, they got their butts kicked, etc. But if you look at Shedeur Sanders, he played efficient. 22 for 33, 159, 1 touchdown. He didn't make any crazy mistakes. They were getting after Shedeur all the time throughout the whole game. But I thought that he played a well-managed game, against a tougher opponent. Oregon, of course, Bo Nix looked like a superstar, even though he was, we know Bo Nix is trash. I'm just gonna play it. Bo Nix is trash. I don't think he ran, you gotta think. Bo Nix where'd he start off? Bo Nix started off in Auburn and was abysmal in Auburn, lost a starting job. He came to Oregon last year. He was marginal last year, and then this year, everyone's putting Oregon on the map. It's the overhyped rankings. I thought that with what Shedeur was up against, he played well. I thought Shallow played well. It wasn't like Colorado they were just outmanned like it's Jackson State. It's a D1 AA school. Well, they came in. They played in a tough environment. And Oregon just had the same energy. Every game against Colorado is going to be a big game, no doubt about it. Every game is going to be a big game. Every team wants to shut Colorado up because they're in the news, they're in the headlines. So I understand and I get it why Oregon didn't let up. They put up in the second half they put up the first half they put up 35 points, and then the second half a late TD for for Shador, and they only put up 7 points. So I like the way that Colorado fought throughout the game. I thought that Oregon, big tough guys, right? They beat up on Colorado. Oregon's still trash. They're not going to do anything. I can promise they're not going to do anything this year. They're not going to make it to that Pac-12 conference. But like I said, it's going to be tough for Colorado. Week after week, teams are going to get more film on you. They're going to know how to game plan. And now they're going to take what works against Colorado, and they're going to say, hey, this is what works. Does Oregon necessarily have better athletes? I don't think Oregon has necessarily better athletes than Colorado. I think that, they have better athletes, but I think that they're more organized. They play as a unit better. They were at home. Oregon, if you look at Oregon, who they played, their out of conference schedule was pretty weak. They played Portland State, Texas Tech. They barely scraped by Texas Tech. They beat Hawaii and Colorado. So I don't think that this Oregon's team is like wildly good. And what does that mean for Colorado? That means that Colorado was playing against a top team in the Pac-12, but this team is no. I don't think this team is even close to when we talk about a top team overall as a Power 5. I don't think they're a top 5, top 10. They may have them ranked 10 right now, but we know what happens. They have to play Washington State, Utah, USC, Oregon State. They're not coming out of the Pac-12. Oregon's not coming out of the Pac-12 without losing at least 2 games, and that's my take on it. But that Colorado did get a glimpse of a top tier team in the conference, and I think that there's still a lot of teach tape, right? There's a lot of teach tape things you can work on, and I do expect them to perform better when they play against USC. Do I expect them to win? No, but I do expect them to play better than what they played today. So week over week is going to get tough for Colorado, but I think that they held their heads high. They played good throughout the whole game, and that's what you want to see from players.